Hey there, welcome to the Recharge Biomedical Podcast. I'm Dr. Edward Park, and if you're curious about regenerative medicine, you've come to the right place. We're diving into the latest breakthroughs in telomerase activation, stem cell exosomes, and all the cutting-edge science that's shaping the future of healing and longevity. Let's get started. Hi everybody, this is Dr. Ed Park. We're going to talk about my 17-year journey taking TA65. Okay, what happened? What is it? Why does it work? And what can I expect? I want to start off by saying that I do believe in miracles. This week I was carded 3 times. I don't think I look that young, but you can see me back in 2006 before TA65, which was introduced on 777. They thought it would be cute to be like a jackpot. And this is me a month ago in Taipei with my son, who's now 21. He was 3 in the picture. I don't have much gray hair on top, no reading glasses. I like to read close if I need to. And that means that my hair follicles are not aging as quickly and my lens is more flexible. It's hard to gain weight. Pizza and beer, donuts is what comprise a lot of my nutrition. Not something I'm particularly proud of, but at 3 months of taking TA65 at a low dose, 10 milligrams, I actually had an extinction event of my visceral fat. I lost 15 pounds without diet or exercise. And I think that's a very interesting phenomenon. It doesn't happen often, but it happened to me. Now the exosomes are allowing me to regenerate things when I tear them, like my meniscus, Achilles, and my shoulder rotator. I was at RadFest last year, and my friend Maria's husband asked at dinner, if you're taking so many things, how do you know what's working? A lot of the great health influencers take many, many dozens of supplements. Until last year, all I took was TA65 for 17 years straight. 17 years ago in 2007, I was the 19th person to take it. I paid a lot of money to be consulting with Dr. Raphael, and they did testing, and basically I had a fatty liver, elevated enzymes was about 210, and that went away after 3 months, as I mentioned. Last year, my mom, who's 87 and a biohacker herself, I took her advice and started taking 50 to 100 milligrams of DHEA, which is a steroid precursor, and I think that's helped. But for 16 years, it was just the TA65, no other meds, no other doctor visits, knock wood. My stable dosing is 50 milligrams every night. After I record this, I'll take another 2 capsules of TA65. So what is a telomere? What are telomeres doing? What's telomerase? I've written a couple of books about this that you can check out. Essentially, they're like firecracker fuses at the ends of the chromosomes. Because of the mechanics of DNA replication, the RNA primer can not get to the very end, and so you lose 50 to 100 base pairs per cell division. This is represented by this cartoon from one of my books. Every time one cell becomes 2, et cetera, the telomeres have to shorten. And this means that non-stem cells are limited in their progeny. There's only so many generations they can go before they hit the Hayflick limit. Now, stem cells are defined by their asymmetric division, meaning they become another perfect mom and a more differentiated daughter. And the other thing that defines a stem cell is they have transient telomerase activation, which means there's a reverse transcriptase which can lengthen the telomere back, regrow the fuse. That's why they're immortal, but not really. They do get depleted. Way back before 2007 and 2005, they were experimenting. The Geron Corporation looked at different compounds. They isolated one. Arguably, they may have modified. It comes from a Chinese longevity herb called Astragalus membranaceus. We age because our telomeres shorten and our stem cells deplete. But what if we could support both? I've been taking TA65 for 17 years. It's the only supplement I trust to support better mood, better sleep, and exercise recovery. And at age 57, I don't have any gray hair and I don't need reading glasses. TA65 is available now. Go to rechargebiomedical.com/TA-65 and enter promo code RECHARGE10 to save 10% off. Now, what is aging? Easiest way to think of it is in terms of the Hindu Trimurti, or 3 forms. Shiva is destruction, and that's like when the cell chromosome number is wrong, the p53 will kill the cell, and that's the main mechanism of cancer prevention. Immune destruction is also a way that
Cells that are infected with viruses or other problems can signal to be destroyed by the immune system. So there's a balance of destruction, the god of destruction. Vishnu is preservation. That's telomerase activity, telomere re-lengthening in stem cells. Also, autophagy is a way of maintaining, meaning cleaning out the cells internally through the endosomal pathways, lysosomes, peroxisomes. Also, in a macro sense, when we go to sleep, your brain swells up and the lymphatic system washes out all the bad garbage. And then finally, Brahma is the creator god, and that is, again, stemness itself, stem cells. And we know from a Dutch lady that died about 6 years ago that she only had two versions of hematopoietic stem cells, whereas usually people have thousands, meaning that life is a slow crawl towards stem cell depletion, loss of Brahma. So the Th65, I believe, was Vishnu. It was a maintainer of my stem cells in my hair follicles, in my lens. There are senolytics like curcumin. P53 is the program for cell self-suicide. And there was something called FOXO4 DRI, a dextrorotated isomer. Very interesting way to compete with the FOXO4, which is inhibiting cell suicide. So there was a company, Ned something or other, they tried to do a senolytic, it didn't work, but perhaps we shouldn't be so eager to mess with Shiva because Shiva is going to deplete our Brahma or our stem cells. Now, exosomes are available, and in theory and in practice, it appears that for a short time, they can cause stem cells to dedifferentiate, act younger, perhaps copy their way out of problems in those local niches. So how does Th65 work? We don't really know. If you look at the molecule, it looks like a steroid molecule, and so maybe it activates the MAPK pathway. And indeed, in 2013, there was a study by Brenda Mulgara, and she did some cool little things to turn on and off the pathway and figured out that the Th65 is working probably via this cell signaling master pathway. So what happens when the telomerase turns on briefly? The chromosomes are lengthened, and the inevitable loss of those telomeres in our stem cells is delayed. Vishnu is activated. So that delays the Shiva or cell suicide events that will eventually happen to all our stem cells, like the Dutch lady, and it preserves our stem cells or our Brahma. Arguably, losing 15, 20 pounds without exercise or diet may have been a Shiva or senolytic event. Who knows if that was some other spiritual thing or energy reset? I don't know. All I know is it happened. So the stock ticker tape or the old Dymo little sticker maker for your locker kind of illustrates what a telomerase enzyme is. It literally re-lengthens the ends of the chromosomes so they don't cause death soon. So what's the evidence that it works? Myself, I have a patient who has been taking it since it helped his immune senescence like 15 years ago. And he's a pretty smart guy. He was investing in Bitcoin at 5 cents. Way back then, I treated a lady, Soledad. Here I'm interviewing her on one of my videos at YouTube DRPRK65. She's 112 here. She made it to 114. I'm asking her what the secret of a long life is. Spoiler alert, she says laughing is the best medicine. And she's really was a cute lady. Actually started growing hundreds of black hairs, which we see not only with the Th65 occasionally, but also with my exosome patients, which is very interesting. I was named in an FTC lawsuit. The Federal Trade Commission wanted to go after TA Sciences. They eventually settled and prevailed, and they're allowed to claim to be a telomerase activator. If you go to the US Patent and Trade Office, you can see Geron's original patent for the molecule Th65, and they engage in some obfuscation about what it is or could be to protect their intellectual property. There are at least, I would say, 7 or 8 good studies about Th65 that have happened. And Dr. Joe Raphael is the main author in many of these, name misspelled here, 2 F's, 1 L. But we will interview him in just a couple of weeks, and he will explain the amazing findings that he's had showing reversal of immune senescence across a wide range of doses, which is incredibly exciting. So if you want to learn more, the original book I self-published was called Telomere Time Bombs. And it talks about my strange journey through life, including taking the TA65. There's one error which some people could find about mRNA. But other than that, it's a pretty interesting book. It's very easy, relatable, a lot of great illustrations and analogies. Uh, in 2008, the Hay House company asked me to write the Telomere Miracle. And so that's more of like a practical guide. If you don't want to spend a dime on staying young and activating telomerase, this has a scientific study showing, the 6 cylinders that you can do to drive forward telomerase activity. And they're just what you think they would be: sleep, exercise, diet and nutrition, mindset, supplements, sure, and your thoughts themselves. So it's a lot of common sense stuff, but it's nice to know there's science backing up that a healthy lifestyle, free of charge, can help you stay younger. And it stands to reason. We have, hundreds of blogs on my website about telomeres, telomerase, dozens of videos at YouTube, DRPARK65. If you go to my business card, ovu.com/Edward Park, you can also download all the exosome videos that I've done, and you can get a link to some of the videos on telomeres, telomerase, and exosome therapy. So get TTB, Telomere Time Bombs, to explain my origin story, Telomere Miracle by Hay House to explain how you can naturally hack your anti-aging, and lastly, the book published in 2024, audio, ebook, and print, will explain to you exactly how exosomes can help regenerate Brahma temporarily. So why TA65? Well, some people think it's cycloestrogenol that we're taking. It may not be as pure. We all source it from the same manufacturers. It takes about 10,000 pounds of root to make a kilogram of this substance because there are steps involved. For 6, 7 years, I did have recharge, or maybe more, and I took generic cycloestrogenol and I put holy basil, ashwagandha, and gynostemma. Eventually, that's what it evolved into. And people liked that. They generally found it more gentle. But I no longer sell that because TA65 really, in point of fact, had the same effects. Some people preferred one or the other, but they're both very, very good. The TA65, somewhere a long time ago, they developed a micronization process, which means usually it's like ultrasound and it shakes up the dirt clods into fine sand. So it's arguably much more bioavailable than just the generic clotted sort of cyclo trace. And, my friend Dave Asprey, he asked me about 15 years ago also about the cyclo. And I think people do notice that if you buy the generic stuff off Amazon, perhaps not as potent. And then you also have to worry about quality control. When I was a manufacturer, I didn't trust anyone, even my own encapsulator, and we always tested for safety, purity, and pollutants. So I think you can expect better sleep, better mood, better exercise recovery, and just generally better resilience mentally, which is the hallmark of mental health. And so if you want to understand TA65, you want to understand my model of aging and how to fight it, get the books, Telomere Miracle, the Telomere Time Bombs, and the Exosome Songs of Healing. Again, on my business card, you can download a list of 5, 6 years of educational materials that I've made and blogs about exosomes now. And you can order TA65 from Recharge Biomedical, my website. When you order from me, I actually ship it myself and I send you instructions, which do somewhat differ, and they've always differed from the official recommendations. And we give you pointers on when to take it, how to take it, and I think that's really helpful. So that's really all I want to say about TA65. I do believe in it 100%. And I think that people have really enjoyed it. They've enjoyed taking it over the years. And it's worth a try. Most people feel the effects right away in terms of vivid dreaming. And you just wake up like Groundhog Day. It's like the last day is just like this day. The times where I've forgotten to take it on vacation, I do notice that I feel older. And so I do think for some crazy reason, the TA65 has been keeping me younger, and at least the people who card for alcohol seem to think so as well. So it's Dr. Ed Park. Stay tuned. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be interviewing Joe Raphael, who's done a lot of the really great clinical science about immune senescence and how cycloestrogenol or TA65 may help. And again, I cannot say with absolute certainty that's what TA65 is because of the patent obfuscation But if you want to learn more about the effects from pets to hair to liver to cognitive to healing, that is all on YouTube at DRPARK65. But now for the last 6 years, we've been exploring Brahma with the exosomes. And again, same thing, we get amazing results. So this is 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as Meatloaf said. The control of senolytics and the actual banking of stem cells and replenishment of them is probably where the future of anti-aging is headed. And we will be interviewing in our new podcast series people who do that right now in different countries and asking them to share their knowledge. So this is Dr. Ed Park ending a podcast about TH65. I'm a believer. I think it works. If you want to try it out, please go to rechargebiomedical.com to learn more. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the Recharge Biomedical podcast. If today's episode got you thinking, you'll love my book, Exosomes Songs of Healing. It's packed with cool analogies, full-color illustrations, and all the science you'll need to understand how exosomes are changing the game in aging and regenerative medicine. You can grab it in paperback, ebook, or audiobook, whatever works for you. Now head over to www.rechargebiomedical.com to check it out. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another episode. See you next time.